Oh, thanks, Vin. And thanks, Lena. I appreciate that. Hi. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Concrete face. This is really the first time I've gone live on YouTube. I think I tried it once before as a test, but uh, maybe I'll try and do this a little bit more often. I sometimes go live on Instagram, but it's cool to try out this platform. Oh, glad you think so, Lena. Thank you. Hi, Nikki. Orson, this pen is called Lay Pen, made by Marvy. It's kind of like a it's kind of like a Micron, a mechanical pen, and I kind of feel like it's more like a Staedtler pen. If you ever used one of those, Staedtler. I'm not sure how you say it, but it's cheaper, and they're really good. They hold a lot of ink. It takes a really long time for these to run out. I find them at Blick. I think you could probably order them online as well. This is a pen that I've been using more often because I don't usually like microns, but I think this is made by Micron. It's kind of like more of their marker, and it's been fun to do like thicker outlines with it. I'm gonna try to move this camera real quick. Let's see what we can do. What am I working on? I can't really say exactly yet, but as you can tell, it's probably something Betty and Jughead related and Archie related. But what I am doing for this comic is, as you can see, I'm drawing it traditionally. Um, Most of the comics, actually, all the professional comics I've done in the last few years have been drawn digitally on a Cintiq. And although I like doing that, and it's very convenient, there's something about working traditionally that just it's hard to replace. There's like a satisfaction about working on actual paper with real tools, getting ink on your hands, being able to like touch and hold the thing that you're working on. So this has been a really nice experience. Um, Thank you, Charlie. And I don't normally work like this just because it takes longer. Working digitally does save a certain amount of time, but with this particular project, I have a little bit more lead time on it, so I'm able to afford myself the ability to work this way. I'd love to do this more often. I'm going to try to make it possible for myself to work traditionally a lot more. Oh, cool. I'm glad you think so. Yeah, there's just something about original comic art, and especially on this channel here on YouTube, I've been focusing a lot of my videos on original comic art, looking at a specific artist and their process. So it's really like inspired me to want to work like this a lot more. This is how I used to do all my work back in the day. I would draw it traditionally, and then I would scan it in and color things and touch things up in Photoshop. But plus, I'm able to sell them. Good point, Vin. That is true. And for comics, if anyone here is a comic artist, professional or aspiring, um, you have to, make your money where you can and try to increase the budget of a project so you get your page rate. And then when you're working traditionally like this, you get money on the back end if you want to sell it. Charlie, I agree. There is definitely a satisfaction, and it's not to say that working digitally isn't satisfying. It's just in a different way. By the way, I'm inking on top of a light box, as you can see. My underdrawing, my sketch is underneath it. Once again, thanks so much for everyone for tuning in. Orson, normally I don't actually write my scripts, but for this project, I actually am. That's something that I definitely want to get more into, writing and drawing. Yeah, this is 11 by 17 paper. I use a Bristol board vellum finish paper. Um, if you search my channel, you could find a bunch of videos about me talking about what paper to use, what tools I use, all that good stuff. But generally, for comics, the proportion size that most comic artists work on is within 11 by 17 with a 10 by 15 drawing area. That's generally speaking. It obviously varies depending on the size that it will be printed. But I feel like 11 by 17 is a good enough size for you to get uh, detail while not having to go like super, super large. One of the adjustments that I found going back to working traditionally this way, especially in comics, is that there's no zoom in. I'm so used to doing this with my fingers and zooming in really closely when I work digitally. And this is like you just have to put your face closer to the paper. So it's a different experience. But I think that also sort of changes the drawing in a good way. Oh, cool. I'm glad you liked that video. Uh, that was a fun one to make. It was a really long one to edit, though. Concrete face. That was a real. It was a treat to be able to go through all that art, John Romita Jr. art with various inkers. But God, that took me forever to edit. I love making these videos, but the editing process is the longest process. Anyway, this is my Pentel Brush Pen, and as you can see here, I just realized it's out of ink. I'm gonna see if I have an extra cartridge. Hopefully I do. Um, yeah, I do. So if you've never gotten these before, it's called the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. You can just buy these refills. It's super cost effective. I think the refills are like $5 and you get two of them. And they do last quite a while, so I'm always careful though when I put that uh, refill in, not to do it like on top of my art, just in case there's like a splattering or something. But yeah, for anyone who likes some of my videos where I go in depth on a particular artist or a particular topic, definitely leave me a comment either here or in the comment section of the video of what you'd like to see. Concrete face, yeah, I have some friends who actually do that with the syringe. I never tried that before, but it's probably even more cost effective because you could just buy one big thing of ink. I just recorded a new video yesterday. I have another one that I'm editing, so hopefully I'll have some new videos up soon. It gets a little busy sometimes with work. Oh, pros and cons versus manga versus Western style. That's a really great idea. Um, my only trepidation on that one is that I'm not all that well versed in the manga style. So I'm much more familiar with Western style artists. Uh, Thanks, Finn. I appreciate that. My Patreon has been resurrected. It was a little dead the month of September, I think, September and October. But I'm glad to be posting there a lot more regularly. If anyone's interested in seeing stuff that I don't post anywhere else, definitely check out my Patreon. Did you go to the Cuber school? No, I didn't. But I really wanted to go there when I was much younger. It was actually a goal of mine to go to the Kubert School, and then I found out as I got a little bit older. I found out about the school called the School of Visual Arts in New York, and they had a cartooning program, and they had some really great faculty there. Artists like David Mazzucchelli and Klaus Janson taught there, and of course I wasn't able to get them as teachers, but I went to the School of Visual Arts instead. It was closer. I'm from Brooklyn. I was living in Brooklyn at the time. It was in New York. The Kubert School was in Jersey. So, are there any books you recommend for learning how to draw people and comics today? Um, I feel like as far as comics go, books would be How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's a classic. I think maybe sometimes people think it might be a little cheesy and outdated. And in some cases, maybe it is, but it really does go over so many of the fundamentals, things that you really, you know, that stuff never goes away, essentially. Those fundamentals, whether you're working traditionally or digitally, um, drawing proportions, perspective, how to make a scene dynamic. I think that stuff is really important. Um, Other books for drawing that I like. I did a whole video on some of my favorite art instruction books. I think it was like called Top Five Art Instruction Books. If you want to search my channel for that, there's a lot of inking books that I recommend if you're interested in balancing black and white on a page, inking for comics. There's some really great books out there. Orson, would you recommend going to school to study cartooning? Um, No, nowadays, to be frank, I wouldn't, just because it costs too much money. And I'll say that when I went to school, uh, this was pre YouTube. It was before YouTube. It was before social media. It was before Skillshare. It was, the internet was obviously around, but it wasn't the way we know it now. And to be quite honest, everything I learned in school that I paid a lot of money to learn, um, and I'm still paying loans back on, it's all on the internet now for free. So, you know, it's not rocket science. It's difficult, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of dedication. But there's no secrets. All the secrets are out there now. So just, you could find interviews with comic artists and tutorials all online. That stuff is invaluable. Obviously, it all comes down to how you use it. So much information is out there nowadays, but not no one, but a lot of people don't use it properly. So if you're willing to, apply the things that you learn for free online and then actually practice them and all that, you could save yourself a lot of money. Charlie, good point. um, the sort of tuition ratio versus the type of work that you're going into doesn't really add up. Comic art, illustration, you can make a lot of money doing it, but it's like anything else. You have to be crafty and you have to be smart. You have to be a little bit entrepreneurial. Um, the, the nature of the job itself won't provide you money. You have to find the money, if that makes sense. It's kind of like music or acting or any other kind of creative profession. You could do really well in it, but it's almost like you get out of it what you put into it. I agree. That's why I studied graphic design, although you can make the same argument for that as well. Is there a Discord you're a part of? Yeah, good point. I mean, I think graphic design, uh, there's probably more job opportunities in terms of getting hired by a company, which could give you a little bit more security in terms of benefits and regular paycheck. There aren't really any companies, not that I'm familiar with, that will hire like a full-time cartoonist, put them on salary and give them benefits and stuff like that. You're more likely to become a freelancer. And so the thing about freelance that's so great is that there is no ceiling. You can make as much money as you want, but you could also not make that much money either. Again, you have to kind of learn along the way. Um, and you have to be very flexible and willing to try different things. And is there a Discord? I'm not really a part of any Discord. I just joined Discord recently, and I never use it. I want to use it. I want to like understand that platform better, but for whatever reason, it doesn't appeal to me. I have to just spend more time with it, I think. But yeah, I joined this guy. His Discord, I can't even remember his name. I think his name is Jens, Jens Clayson or Classen. I follow him on Instagram, and he posted something about his Discord, and I thought maybe this is a good way for me to understand Discord. But I went on it, and I just don't understand the platform. But um, yeah, maybe soon enough I'll spend more time there. Oh, cool. Masterclass with David Carson. That's awesome. Was that on that like masterclass site that you have to pay for, or was that free? Because the thing is, like, even if you have to pay for a masterclass like that, or a Skillshare membership, or any other kind of online workshop, I mean, it's still worth it because as it compares to like a tuition, an actual college tuition, it's like a fraction. That's cool. By the way, there's some construction that's going on outside my door, so it might start to get loud. They've been working. They've been working every like morning, starting around this time. Typically, how long does it take to complete a page? That's a great question. Um, I'll say since I've been doing this project, working traditionally like this, uh, I'm definitely spending more time on these pages than I would if I was working digital. One, because it's sort of like a bit of a learning curve right now because I haven't worked traditionally in comics in so long. So I had my I had my pace down when it came to working digitally, and now things have definitely slowed down. So I'm really taking my time with this particular project. Uh, like I said, when I'm able to talk more about it, I'll explain the structure of this project a little bit better, and it'll probably make a little bit more sense. But um, I do have more time. Normally, my comic deadlines are just super tight. It's almost insane. It's very frustrating, and so working digitally really helps in that regard because it's just faster to meet your deadlines. You don't have to worry about scanning, cleaning the artwork up. If you have to make revisions, it's a lot easier. Um, but like I mentioned, I don't get that same satisfaction. So it's a little bit of a trade off. But anyway, I would say generally, um, when I'm working digitally, like a page that has like a moderate level of detail on it, I would say a moderate to severe level of detail on it. It would probably take me about a day and a half to pencil and ink it, and that's not including the time that I put in to lay the page out. So maybe 2 days per page when you add it all up. Um, this right now, working traditionally, I'm really taking this one a lot slower. So far I don't even know. Maybe it's been taking a little bit longer, but generally, uh, a page a day is like ideal in terms of being able to tell all the stories you want to tell, meet all your deadlines, all that kind of stuff. But like everyone else in today's world, I'm often juggling several things at once. So sometimes I do illustration projects for clients outside of comics, or I'm working on, a project for my Patreon or whatever it might be. So there's always distractions. Oh, thanks so much for subscribing. I appreciate that. Yes, on the site, even if you have to pay for it, it gives workshops that he holds that would cost God knows how much. Yeah, that's the whole point for sure. The basic, I agree. I mean, if you were to take a workshop with, I think Neil Gaiman does one of the masterclass. If you were to take that workshop years ago, if he ever had such a thing before the service was offered, I can only imagine how much a ticket would be. So and it's still going to be cheaper than college tuition. I mean, the school that I went to, SVA, School of Visual Arts, I started going there in 2003, and I graduated in '07. And so I don't know how many years ago that is, but it's a while ago. And I heard through the grapevine what the tuition is now, and I mean it's doubled, which is crazy because it was expensive back then too. So, uh, and did the curriculum get that much better? No. I mean, I don't want to discourage anyone from going to art school. I think the the thing you really have to think about is the cost. If you're able to get like a full tuition, go for it. That'd be awesome. Because the one thing about art school that you can't get online, or you can't get it the same way online, is the networking kind of aspect. You meet people, you yeah, you learn from looking over your shoulder who's working on something else. That in person kind of collaboration, and every ideas start to rub off, and that's fantastic. But like I said, it comes at a price, and you could create that kind of an environment yourself without having to go to art school. Orson, going for your master's anytime soon? No, definitely not. If I were to get my master's in anything, I most likely wouldn't. But if I were to, it would probably not be in the field that I have already worked in. All right, so this is my favorite part, but I'm making sure that the ink is dry. But when I add stars to a black area with a white pen, for whatever reason, it's my favorite part. Because you just kind of be like really random with it, and there's something about that like pop, pop, pop. It's cool. Um, and when I was a kid, and I would look at like in Wizard magazine, they would show like process uh, penciled pages. That's where this is before like the internet and stuff. That's where I'd first see like what a penciled page looks like by a comic artist. And the penciler, when there was going to be an area, a sky, and it was going to be like a night sky, instead of, because he was just penciling, instead of him trying to somehow render that with pencil, he would just write BWS in that area. And that was code to the inker that it would be black with stars. So then the inker would essentially do something like this. For whatever reason, I thought I'd share that memory. So there's a lot of night sky on this particular page. I think I'm going to make a video uh, soon, kind of showing a little bit more of this, some of these other panels. But, and once I'm able to talk a little bit more about it, I could show a little bit more process, more in depth, like longer video. But this is cool, going live on YouTube. Like I said, I usually go live on Instagram, but this is kind of fun. I feel like YouTube is a slightly different audience than Instagram, at least for me. It's almost more like comic focused, whereas Instagram, people are there for a variety of different reasons. This panel is just about there. This is actually the last panel on this page. So I'm kind of happy about that. I just wrapped up this page. Um, Currently, where I'm living, I don't have a scanner. So what I've been doing is actually taking my pages to a local like copy center, and they scan it for me. So once the ink on this dries, I'll give this a nice erase, and then I'll take it over and get some of these pages scanned, and then yeah, that's the process that takes a little bit longer when working traditionally, is that you have to scan it, then I'll clean up the files, make sure that the black and white files look really good and clean and tight, and then I send those over, and then they get lettered and colored and all that kind of stuff. So, um, anybody have any other questions or comments or anything like that? I'll hang around for a little bit more. It's crazy. That's already 40 minutes into this. Time flies. There's something about going live also on Instagram or YouTube when you're working. It almost keeps you honest a little bit. I can't, rush too much or slow down. I have to make sure things look good. So kind of benefits the final product. I have to find your IG page. Same name or special character? No, it's just my name, Thomas Patilli. It's a hard one to spell, but however it's spelled on YouTube. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, but I feel like YouTube and Instagram, I've condensed everything. I got rid of my Facebook, I got rid of my Twitter. So far, YouTube and Instagram have hung around. This is great. Thanks for letting us onto you. Oh, I appreciate it, Orson. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this. I think there's a way for me to post this on my actual channel. I'll see if that's possible after this. It makes me too nervous to go live. Mad respect for artists that can do it. Thanks, Vasek. Yeah, there's like a little bit of a nerve-wracking element to it, but most of the time when I first start doing it, like when you first start a live video, literally no one's watching for a while, and sometimes no one even joins in afterwards. So it's kind of like it takes the pressure off. Concrete Face, thanks so much. I'm glad that this was somewhat enjoyable, and I also never know like what time is best to do this stuff. Where I'm living, it's still early in the morning, so and it's a weekday, but it's cool to see that there's other people who are around watching this stuff. So yeah, I think the construction is really starting to kick in. So I'm gonna hop off of here. But thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll be doing this more often. So awesome. Take care, everyone.